Hello, guys. My name is Lucas. Welcome to my channel. And this is the testimony in English. But just first, I want to say that the peace of God, that Lord Jesus be upon you, the peace that surpasses our understanding, and the perfect peace, the supernatural peace be upon you guys. So, no more delays. I'm just going to start straight up. I was starting in Brazil, and when I was into music a lot, and I had a friend that had a band, and I was really into music because of him. I was really inspired by him. I was a fan of his band. And one day in the middle of the streets, we were like just jamming, playing music, and I was just I started singing some Bob Marley, and someone said, "Oh my God, you sing really similar to him and stuff." And then from then I said, "Whoa, okay, maybe I can sing, maybe I can do something myself." And then I used to like a lot of Bob Marley, old 70s and 60s rock. And I remember I had this DVD from Bob Marley, and I was watching it and I was looking at the way he was putting his fingers in the arm of the guitar, and I was trying to follow him, like the way he was doing it, and singing it as well. Then I started learning a bit of English and stuff, and I always loved this protest lyrics, and I was always into and also the music was kind of mystic, was kind of involved with spirituality. And also I loved a lot of Brazilian music that was into many different religions at that time, and still on today. And I always saw the subliminarity of music, the two-sided, lyrics that mean something, and actually is telling you something else, in a spiritual sense. And I always love music like that, like with a mystical touch. And then I always had this mindset of like, because of so many songs were like, so many bands were like kind of pushing away God and receiving other entities, other spirits to help them with inspiration, with music. So what happened is like I had all this in my mind, and I wanted to build something similar to my music. But in the same time, I couldn't play music. I couldn't play guitar very well and stuff. Hello, guys. You all right? Yeah? Okay. So I always wanted to make some kind of music like this. But I was always frustrated because I couldn't play music, I couldn't finish songs and stuff, and I had the opportunity to come to Europe, to France at first. So when I was about like 20, 21 years old, I saved some money, my family helped me a little bit, and then I got to come to France. I bought a ticket and came to my auntie's house and spent 3 months there. And I didn't have my guitar with me and stuff, so I bought one over there, and I started playing it. And I met another guy who was also in the beginning of his journey, and I was thinking that, wow, he doesn't play as well as me. I wasn't playing very well, but he didn't play as good as me, and he was playing a different kind of music as well. So if you know a bit of music and like rock and roll, you know that there's this narcissistic vibes, that everyone wants kind of battle for energy there. One wants to be someone wants always to be the better of the other, better than the other person, and feel better about themselves, feel good, it's the ego. So I was into that mindset. As well. And because of that, I was thinking, okay, I'm just gonna, go through this guy, and just find more inspiration for me to write about, to sing about. But then time passed, and this guy was getting clever and becoming smarter than me, and I was feeling even more confused. So, and then I was like, okay, I was a bit frustrated. I couldn't finish songs. I couldn't even like be better than this guy, mentally speaking and stuff. So I remember that always there was always chants, for like different entities from different religions in Brazil, and like Hindu gods. There used to be like chants you could do like when you were drumming and doing some percussion. So I had a djembe, which was like it's a little percussion little drum, and you could just tap and make some music. So I brought this djembe to a train track. They used to be next to my auntie's house at the end of the road, and it was kind of a very quiet place, and trains they wouldn't come often there. It was like more cargo trains, so like once in a while. So I went there 3 in the morning, and with my drum, and I started to beat it, and like to kind of worship these entities and sing it. I was trying to get into a trance, trying to find some kind of inspiration, some kind of anointing, if you would say, like some blessing from other gods and stuff, to be able to finish my music, to start to make it work. But I remember nothing happened. I always feel like something was going to happen, never happened. So I started to get really angry and frustrated. So what happened is, there was a moment that I say, you know what, I'm just going to pray to the devil, and I started praying to the devil and talking with him like, listen, I want to make my music. I want to be famous. I want to have money. I want to have the girls and everything. I don't care what happens to me. I can burn in hell. And I was really becoming kind of angry at that moment. And I was like feeling like this kind of strength, like my voice was changing and everything. And I was kind of imagining my family like burning. It was like some very evil thoughts and stuff. I remember that my voice changed. It was like really desiring bad things, wishing bad things, to people, just to get this blessing of, which is not a blessing, but just to open all the doors possible so my music would work, But anyways, time passed. Nothing appeared to happen, and then I had the opportunity to come to London, and then I came to London. I had a good friend there, and then I was still with this dream, to make music, to be famous and stuff like, I knew I had a talent. I had a good voice, and because of that, you fill yourself with the dreams that the world somehow influences you to have. And there was a moment I started to work in Camden Town, which is like very crazy place in London, which has all different kind of tribes, and there's a massive market with many different, people. You can see everything over there, like the ugly, the good, the bad, and the ugly, So I really like that place. Wow, every tribe here, the smell in the air was like of weed and stuff. I wasn't even smoking at that time, but because it was so crazy over there, I didn't want to be left behind. I started smoking again and stuff. And then I started working right in the middle of this market, like meeting everyone from every tribe, from every nation, from every country, and speaking every different language. And next to my shop, there was this guy who used to play guitar. I didn't know he was playing guitar. At first, I thought he was a bit boring, but then I realized he was a guitarist. I said, "Oh man, let's make some music. Let's try to make something up." And the same day that we spoke about this, someone borrowed us a guitar, and even there, right at the spot, like as we were working, we made a song. And it was really nice. We found that there was a connection there between us, and then amazing. I found that, okay, there's someone like my age that wants to do something cool as well, like this, that wants to dream. And always good at inspiring people to dream my own dream, And from that point on, we really got involved into this. And then we found a drummer, and we found a bass player and stuff. And, everyone was believing in this because the connection between me and the guitarist was really strong, and we were building more songs. And by that time, like 1 or 2 years passed, that we were like playing together, and I was becoming a jerk, like an idiot. It's like my ego was like so inflated, and it was like being bad to everyone like, they're taking care of their families or like just working, to survive and stuff. I was just despising everyone, and thinking that I had, the real deal going on. And anyways, and that time I was already, drinking and smoking. So time passed, and at that moment of my life, I was able to, to be with many girls. It was like a little community. The market was like everyone knew each other, so every day you could enjoy. And this day, we went all together after work to a place called Blues Kitchen, just down the road from Camden. And there was a girl that I knew I was gonna be with her, at that night. And then we went to the pub, and I kissed her and stuff, but she didn't want to come home with me. And all I wanted was to, to have sex. So she left, but there was another girl there, and she was looking at me kind of maliciously, and okay, the other one left. If you want to, you can come home with me and stuff. So then we went home together, and some time passed after this, and then I realized that she was like friends with the manager of the whole market, and and somehow I got into trouble with this girl. And one rainy day, I remember, there was a moment that I started remembering about the trouble that I had with this girl, and I start feeling very guilty, and at that moment the spiritual world kind of opened up like crazy. Like I started to be really afraid, and the guilt was really strong. I couldn't control it. I also was smoking weed and stuff. This kind of opens your mind and links up all kind of weird paranoias in your head. And it's crazy because paranoia is like, it's never about something good. Everything links up to good things, Oh my God, good, 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 good. When you see it, like, wow, you're full of joy. Paranoia is always about bad things, anxiety and stuff. And so that's really, something to think about, why paranoia is always something bad, never comes up to something good. So anyways, that day I started feeling really afraid. And then I started feeling that people maybe were after me and wanted to kill me and wanted to torture me, and because I had trouble with this girl. So at that day, I didn't know what to do. I said, oh my God, there's some people waiting for me already right after work. I don't know, going to put me in a van. And I thought mafia was after me, and the family of this girl was like rich, and I thought they had hired people to come kill me because this trouble. Anyways, this moment, this day, I called a friend of mine, and he was in his day off. He was with his girl. I bothered him. Please come pick me up. I think someone is after me here, and he's a very good friend of mine. So, anyways, reluctantly he came, picked me up. We went to his house. We had a conversation, and to be fair, he didn't have the word of God. The living word to give to me. He was, trying to comfort me and to consolate me. But in the end, it didn't work. I felt more alone, more scared. And I ended up sleeping in their house. I slept in their room, with them in the bed, and I was in the floors. Like, he was really kind to me at that point. They both were very kind. And I felt really lost. I felt like if I went to work next day, people were going to kill me. And what happened is I didn't know who to call anymore. So I ended up start praying to God. And I started praying and say, God, if you can take me away from this trouble, take me away from this sea of confusion, sea of evil, I'll be yours forever. And I didn't know for who I was praying, but I know at that moment I felt goosebumps all over my body. All over my body was just like completely touched by God somehow. And then I was praying quite poetically, quite beautifully. I said, wow, it's really cool. And then a kind of a little bit of hope came into my heart. I remember I just a little bit of hope, just keep going. Something telling me inside, keep going, keep going. And I say, okay, whatever. And then from that point on, I started to just realize, okay, whatever has to happen, it will happen. Whatever. I'm going to work, even afraid, doesn't matter. But it was really, really hard because this, it happened for like 2 months. I was going to work and stuff, and every day this fear, and I could see the devil and evil in the face of everyone that was speaking to me. And it was crazy because everything would affect me, every conversation, even a child sometimes speaking something, or a person saying, oh, it's going to rain tonight. Wow, tonight is the night. And they're going to kill me. They're going to bring me to a van. They're going to torture me. And then, was being really overwhelmed by all these thoughts. So what happened is, after some time, it kind of quieted down a little bit, but I was super sensitive still. And the guys from the band came to tell me listen, we have to play, because the music was still going, and I say, okay, yes, maybe I feel a little bit better. We can go to the studio again. Let's go. And then we started, we planned to go to the studio that night. We met all in the studio. We smoked a little joint and we went to play. And we start playing a song. It wasn't flowing. So we jumped to another song that I had a kind of a demonic, a kind of a evil inspiration to write it. I remember when I was freestyling, I was thinking I want to cut the wings of the angels and stuff. And it was kind of a weird inspiration, very weird. So we started playing the song, and this song is really kind of a very good groove, it was kind of a funky, bluesy bossa nova, like a so I'm gonna sing the song for you to understand what was happening in my mind at that moment. So the song started like this. Feet on the ground, I know a place to go, just around. Run away from this life for a while. Must go down, search some fun, universal town. So this was the verse, the beginning of the song. And then there was the chorus. The chorus I want to play my body. It would go to a solo, and it would go to a little fast pace. And it was, I want to play my body, I want to play my body. This was the chorus of the song. So what happened is, feet on the ground, I know a place to go just around. So when I was singing, it was like a devil was inside me, a demon was inside me telling me this. Feet on the ground is where the devil could put his feet on the ground inside me. I know a place to go just around. And the place to go was just around the corner, from the market, the studio. Run away from this life for a while. And he was saying that he could have run away from his life, his demonic life, being a demon, coming inside my body and put his foot on the ground. And then he would say to me, must go down. They would say must go down, which is must go to hell. If you want to search some fun, universal town would be if you want to have fun here in the world. If you want to be, someone here in the world, you need to go down, to hell. And then that strike me really, really, really strong. And then I start feeling really afraid. I say, oh my God, there's a demon inside me. And then I realized, I start remembering about the people who wanted to kill me and torture me and stuff. So what happened is, I started thinking about okay, there's a demon inside me. They're going to torture me and kill me. I'm going to hell, So the fear of just being tortured and killed turned into the fear of being forever tortured, and in deep, deep, deep fear. I was right there. But then there was a moment I said, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna go to hell. And when I used to would say that I want to go to hell, I don't care. I'm just gonna sing my song. And when I would say that, I remember kind of I would step out of myself, and the devil would just take over, and he would sing it perfectly. It was living in ground. It was like in a very seductive way, like super like perfect. And that moment, the jam was like a orchestra of evil, and kind of the guitarist, he played very well, and he was kind of orchestrating everything. It was like crazy, crazy vibes. And then I would be afraid again, afraid of going to hell and stuff, and I would lose it, and I would be me just singing like shyly, and then I would win again and say, I don't care, I'm going to hell, let me burn in hell. And then the devil would possess me and just sing for me perfectly, and well, there was a few times that happened. And I remember I never wanted to enter the chorus and sing the chorus, because the chorus was like, I want to play my body. So I want to play my body. It was like 200 meanings in there. It's like, I want to play my body because I was just singing. It was a singer there, vocalist. And I want to play my body because I wanted to kind of masturbate and stuff like this. And I want to play my body. And I was playing with my body, with what God gave to me. I was just playing with this. I was not taking this seriously. The grace that God, gave to me to be alive and receive His Spirit, and live under His grace, and I was playing with all this. So anyways, I was really afraid. I couldn't win this. I said, you know what, I can't, guys, I need a break. And I went downstairs. Just a quick drink. And I went downstairs, and I started smoking a cigarette, smoking, like shaking, like scared a lot. And then the drummer just came, as a good friend of mine. And she started to say, oh, finally, we sing something good. We did something good. The song is amazing, blah, blah. But the way she was speaking to me, it looked like a devil, like he's telling me. And I was all this fear, going to hell and going to be tortured, And she was, finally, something good happened, like, wow. It's like the vibe was like completely twisted. And then everyone came down, and then I started to tell them, listen, I'm not feeling good. I can't do this anymore. I can't win this. I'm so afraid of something. And, we kept talking, and then all of a sudden the guitarist told me, like, so who are you going to call now? God? And then I look at him and said, you know what? That's a very good idea. I didn't say that, but it's like, thanks for reminding me, And I remember I got up and said, guys, there's still time for you as well to leave this thing. Because I realized something was really evil at work in there. And then I was thinking there was already people waiting with a van to put me in and torture me, like right outside the studio. Okay, there was no one. And I took my stuff, I left, and I was walking back home and very afraid. And when I was arriving at home, there was a helicopter right on top of my house, searching for someone there. And I said, oh my God, it's me, it's me, it's me. And then, okay, whatever. I just went in. I say, I walk up the stairs. I lived in the last floor. And then I sat on and I entered my room. In the walls, they were like full of demons, full of face of demons, because I used to draw these Japanese masks, these kind of samurai masks. I used to like them a lot, and I used to draw them and, put them on the wall. And I just took everything out of the wall, just ripped everything. And then I deleted all my songs. It was like, oh my God, this is all evil, man. This is crazy. I went too far, And then I sat on my bed, tried to, calm down. But then this guy, he was living next door to me. And he was singing, he was playing music. He was singing a song like, the best song in the world, the best song in the world. And then I say, oh my God, this is crazy, man. It's like, everything is against me. What's going on? And then I say, I can't stay home. And then I left, I just started walking, in the streets. I walked for like 2-3 hours, I remember. And every time, like, was coming in my mind, like the girl, the managers of the market. And because the manager of the market knew all these security guys, these massive, like toothless security guys, like Romanian kind of monster guys. And I remember I was like, it felt like it was a prophecy, because the Romanian, like the Roman soldiers back in the day that killed Jesus, they were gonna kill me as well. I was gonna be a spectacle for people. Everyone wanted to see me sacrificed. It was crazy, and all this paranoia, in my mind all the time. Mafia, torture, death, hell. I remember I was walking for hours, and I just bought like a juice or a biscuit, and I started to eat just to appear normal to people. Everything was so dry in my mouth, like, you know. But anyways, I was deep into this, darkness. And then I just realized, you know what, I'm going to pray. I don't have no one else to call. I don't know who is after me, so I cannot call the police. I cannot call my friends. I cannot call my family. I have no one that can save me, So I started praying. And at the moment I started praying, poof, God just looks like he was waiting for that second. He was, and right at that moment when I started praying, he closed every door of paranoia in my mind perfectly. Poof, and I was in perfect peace with him. I was just praying in peace. Oh God, you're there. I was like, all goosebumps right now. You're there, God, and you're with me. And then I would stop praying, and all the things start come back to my mind. Boom, 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 start overwhelming me again. But then I start praying again, and God would give me peace. And I was praying like for kind of many different prayers, like for different saints and angels and stuff. But God knew that I was praying to him. And he knew that he was guiding me to Jesus at some point. And okay, then I started realizing, okay, God is good. God is real. God is amazing. Okay, God can help me here. And then I went home, and the voices were a little bit, quieter in my mind. And from that point on, I start reading the Bible. I say, okay, I have to read the Bible. And I start reading from the Old Testament, and Psalms as well. And the Old Testament, I remember like Jacob, he became Israel, if I'm not mistaken. And he would give the blessings to all his sons before he died, And all these blessings, as I was reading, they were all jumping in my heart and like blessing me. I was like, wow. And I remember Psalms, when I used to read them, it was so supernatural. They would describe entirely perfectly my life. And in a very bad way as well. It was like telling me like everything like of my guilt and stuff, but it was like perfect. And I knew somehow I had to keep reading it. And okay, then some time, passed. I kept, reading the Bible. I quit the band. I quit smoking weed as well. And there was a girl that I met, that I believe that God allowed this to happen because she was quite important. Because I started to really like her in a very quick, short time, really start almost loving her. I was really passionate about her and stuff. And we spent like 2 months together. And then she ended up, kicking my butt, letting me go, because she had a relationship of 6 years. And the guy, he messed up, and then he asked forgiveness to her. She went back to him. And there I was, I was left by her. But my mind, from the fear, started to turn into like sadness from love. So it was really, really nice thing, that happened to me. I was like more sad about love than scared, And, I kept reading and stuff. And then a friend of mine from Brazil came to live with me, in my room. I was, hosting him there for a while because, for him to, find a job, find his space here, stabilize himself here. And then I told all this testimony, but like kind of broken to him. And when I got into the point that I said I had this pact with the devil in France, he told me, okay, calm down now. This is about Jesus Christ. We're going to go home. We're going to read the Bible. Don't worry. And then we went home, and that night he told me about Jesus Christ, and he told me about the New Testament and that he died for our sins and stuff. But before that, just a quick thing. there was this pastor that someone told me, when I was deep in my paranoia in the market, and he was telling me about Jesus as well. Oh, Jesus died on the cross for you and stuff. He paid for your sins, and I was like, man, I don't need Jesus now, man. I need someone to help me in my mind, you know. And it was crazy because I was reading Freud, I was reading Bhagavad Gita, I was reading everything, every topic about mind, about paranoia, about like anxiety, and nothing would help me. Anyways, so then this friend of mine told me about Jesus. I started praying, and he was telling me, bro, you cannot be going out with all the girls like this and blah blah. I stopped hanging out with the girls, and I was starting to be guided to God. And I remember though I went to a church, was a Brazilian church, and I didn't feel good at all there. They were talking about tithes too much, and then by the end of the service, someone came to me telling me about all these assassins in the Bible and this and that. Man, I left that church with less faith than I entered. And at that moment, I said, okay, God, I need you to show me someone, that can guide me to you, And okay, fine. What happened is, I kept living on my life. Just before that, there was something that happened. Was like my friend, he was still smoking weed, and I wasn't. And then he was going to work, and he had some weed on the table there, and it was my day off. I was in the bed, and I was ready to read the Bible. And then before he was leaving, he looked at me, and he looked at the joint. He looked at me, looked at the weed, and say, bro, don't go smoking by yourself, yeah? You're gonna be scared of the helicopter again, yeah? And I was like, okay, no problem, no worries, I'm gonna read the Bible. And then he left, and I was like, and I would start reading the Bible, and then I'll look at the joint, I look at the weed, I look at the Bible again, look at the weed. I close the Bible and I hide the Bible there. And I say, you know what, I'm gonna smoke. And I made a small one and started smoking. And then after a few puffs, I started to become really paranoid. Just a voice came into my mind saying, you lost your opportunity, you lost your only chance you had with God. That's it, you're done. It was your last chance, you're gonna die now. Now you're mine. It was the devil right in my mind there. And I remember that moment, I felt like someone was just gonna, open that door and just put me in a car, kill me and send me to hell. That was my thought at that time. And then I start praying. I say, okay, God helped me with prayer once, He will help me now again. I start praying, trying to pray. Nothing happened, man. Nothing happened. Nothing was giving me peace. And I realized, okay, I'm gonna read the Bible. And I took the Bible. And then when I took the Bible in my hand, the devil said to me in my mind, like, oh, you're gonna read this book written by men? And I was like, oh my God, man. Yes, I'm gonna read. And I opened this. I opened like a new convert, like when you just open anywhere, I opened like in the middle and start moving the pages. And man, honestly, it was the angels putting the page in the right page for me. I know it. It was like amazing. And then when I was about to read, the devil said that in my mind again, you're going to read the day of your death there, And I say, oh my God, no way, man, no way. And then I remembered my grandmother, she's like kind of a saint, like reading her small Bible, always, very humble, very gentle. I say, you know what, I'm going to read it. I don't care. And then it was Matthew 14, if I'm not mistaken. And, there's like the description of what the chapter is going to be about. And it was like the decapitation of John the Baptist. So I was like, oh my God, man, I'm going to be decapitated. And okay, that's whatever, I'm going to read it. And I start reading it, but I didn't feel at all. Nothing was telling me, like when John the Baptist was, decapitated and stuff. But by the end of the verse, end of the chapter, that it was like Jesus walking in the waters, And Jesus was walking in the waters going to meet the disciples, and they were in a boat in the middle of the sea, and it was like a storm going on. And then they thought they saw a ghost. Oh no, it's a ghost. And then actually Peter realized it was Jesus and said like, okay, Jesus, if it's you, tell me, and I would walk in. I would walk in waters upon the waters with you. Asking for a word for Jesus to, and then Jesus says, "Come." And then Peter started walking in the waters, upon the waters, but then he started to look at at the rain, at the wind, at the clouds, and started to sink. And then he said, "Lord, save me!" And then Jesus came to save him. But at that moment, that Bible, it was in Portuguese. I don't know. God has put a tone of voice in there, inside me, and the tone of voice was a tone of mercy and love, and just so gentle. And it was, "Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt?" And that was, oh my God, it was like so beautiful. He didn't condemn me, he didn't judge me. He just basically said in that tone of voice, "Just get up and do better." And by that moment, I was like, "Oh my God, you're so amazing. Thank you, God." And I understood the mercy of God and the love of God for you, for us. And I say, wow, that was crazy. And man, from that point on, I say, okay, Jesus is amazing. Jesus is God. He's real. Even though I cannot see him, I can feel him. He can talk to me. So close. And man, I went to sleep. The voices in my mind, the paranoia, completely almost shut off. And then I'm going to follow this path. That's the path of my life now. And then after that, remember that I prayed for a church. I prayed for a person to guide me. And in the same week that I prayed, the pastor that told me about Jesus back in the day, he passed in my workplace 3 times the same week that I prayed. And he says, this guy, like tall guy, kind of older guy with check shirts, like looked like a surfer, kind of a very nice person, And he was like, "Hey, bro, let's go to the church, bro." He was like, felt like he was calling me to go surf or go skateboarding or something. I don't know, do something really fun. And then I say, "You know what? I pray for this. I'm going to go check it out." Man, when I got in there, it was this small room with the low lights. And his name was Pastor Anthony. And this guy was just playing music like amazing. He's like a master of music. He plays all instruments, And he was playing and just being so gentle and like worshiping God. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then I started just worshiping God with them. And then I've been to a few services there. And I remember going back home, running in joy and crying. It's like, "God, I finally found the place. You finally gave me somewhere to, to worship you, to be among your saints, And I was really, 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 really joyful about that. Really happy. God was healing my mind there. And I remember even one day I went there and I thought, you know what? I'm the Christian now. I'm the saint. I'm holy now. No worries. And I kind of spoke during someone preaching something, like I gave an advice or something. I don't know. And then that moment, God kind of made me a little bit shy, made me a little bit, I don't know. I felt like out of place. I shouldn't have done that. I should have spoken it. I should just receive his word, And then I left that place knowing that I needed to be more like these people, more humble like these people, more loving like these people. And man, from that point on, of course, this has been like 8 or 7 years ago. And, I have been on and off with God, haven't been perfect walking with him, but God is merciful and, he has a time for everything. And guys, I just wanted to share this story with you. I love the story. His story written in me. So I hope you're blessed, and I hope you enjoy it as well. I'm sorry if it's a bit confusing in the beginning, but that's it, guys. Stay blessed and, keep going, keep walking with him, because every time you walk and you give chance for him to manifest in your life, it's always amazing. And whatever he does is eternal. It's forever, He's an eternal God that does eternal things, and, and his peace surpasses all understanding, You know, in the valley of the shadow of death, you shall fear no evil. It's just a shadow. You know, you'll be in peace there. So, guys, be blessed and see you soon.